Nowadays, it is common to see our kids on the computer or on their cell phones scrolling through social media. But with social media comes a new form of bullying. And here to break it all down is bullying prevention specialist from the Sacramento City Unified School District, Jessica Wharton. Welcome to the show, Jessica.
Thank you.
First of all, explain what bullying is and how is that different from conflict?
So bullying is basically an aggressive or unwanted act that is intended to do harm. It's repeated over time and there's an imbalance of power. And I think what happens a lot of times is people forget about the imbalance of power, which could be the big kid against the small kid. It could be a kid who maybe is receiving special ed services versus a general ed kid, or it could be a kid who has social status at a school and uses that to exclude other students. There's a lot of different ways.
Talk about the impact of bullying, and now we have cyberbullying because of all the online and digital world that's happening.
Yeah, the impact, it's having a huge impact like on the physical, the mental health, and schooling in the way of depression and anxiety and sadness and loneliness. It could be changes in eating or sleeping. It could be declining grades or students not wanting to come to school.
Wow.
So it's having a pretty big impact.
Yeah, and as a mother, these are things I'm always thinking about and worried about. You know, as a parent, you look for the signs. We see you there and working with some of the kids in the classroom. What are signs that we can look out for as a parent?
There's a lot of signs. And so if students start to have unexplained injuries or if they have lost or destroyed clothing or property items, it could be things where we might see some depression or kids that have feelings of hopelessness.
Oh, wow.
One of the big ones, I would say, again, there might be changes in eating or sleeping patterns, but the big one is that feelings of hopelessness and possible suicidal ideation.
Well, so definitely look out for those signs.
Absolutely.
You mentioned some of the kids that may be at higher risk. You know, who specifically would you say as a parent, like, this is my child, this is something I really need to pay attention to?
I would say that some of the students that may be either questioning lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender. Okay. It could be students who with disabilities. It might be students who have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It might even just be students who are perceived as either weaker or less popular.
Gotcha. So we mentioned cyberbullying and, you know, because a lot of kids have phones.
Yes.
When do you think that it's okay for them to have a phone?
I would definitely not recommend getting a phone before age 13. And part of that is because all of our kids want to be on social media apps, and you can't be on social media before the age of 13. Even the CEO of Common Sense Media was asked the same question, and he just said the longer you wait, the better. And he didn't give his own kids a cell phone until high school when he felt like they were responsible.
I mean, we have totally become this community that's dependent on these phones, and like sometimes it's like, well, I can get a hold of my kid or if they need to call me, but you're saying they'll have access to these apps and that opens the door for more cyberbullying. So why should people wait?
Because even the Federal Trade Commission, right, says that you have to be 13 to be on any social media apps. And part of that's due to COPA, which is the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, which doesn't allow companies basically to get students' information prior to age 13. The problem is that many parents are giving their students cell phones prior to age 13. Their kids are getting on apps and then they're lying about their age.
Oh, so that can be a problem. What do you recommend? I mean, what can parents do to protect themselves? Even if your kid is 13 and older, you know, how do we monitor this and really stay on top of things?
So a couple things. I think, first of all, people don't realize how dangerous these apps can be sometimes. There's a lot of inappropriate content. The fact is there's pornographic content. In some of these apps, right, people don't realize, like just an example, Snapchat added Snap Map, and so people don't know that you can see your exact location at any given time of your students.
Yeah.
But there are many different apps that will monitor or regulate what your kid's activity is.
Okay.
And so I recommend that people do their research. Bark, B-A-R-K, is a really good app right now that's affordable and easy to use to monitor your child's social media.
Yeah, you've got to pay attention.
Absolutely. But the bottom line is parents just need to put parental regulations and parent restrictions on their phone and have that conversation with their child.
Yeah, bottom line, you got to stay on top of it and have the conversation. What resources do you recommend? Where can people go for more information or help with this?
I would definitely say, bottom line, don't just hand your kids a cell phone. I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to say that you need to have that conversation, educate and inform, right, to have that conversation about how to utilize it. But resources, Common Sense Media is an excellent one. Sac City Unified has a school climate and bullying prevention website that has excellent resources.
Okay.
And then stopbullying.gov.
All right. Well, pay attention, parents, and look for those signs because we don't want our kids bullied.
No.
Got to get rid of that. Thank you so much, Jessica, for sharing some of your wisdom with us. Great information.
Thank you.
This interview involves commercial content. The products and services featured appear as paid advertising.